So we want to do, obviously I think it's going to be a quadratic model. Makes sense. Because if you're young, you're slow, and if you're old, you're slow. But somewhere in the middle, in your 20s, you're probably going to be at your fastest. So let's make a scatter plot. So time, age, we'll put age as the control variable. And I've got to go all the way up to 50, so maybe I'll go by 5s, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. That fits. And then time-wise, I'll do a little squishy. And we'll start with 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. I might have to go by tens. 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, and maybe 130, okay? So I'm just going to do a basic scatter plot of the data. Doesn't have to be perfect. We just have to get a general idea of what's going on. So a 10-year-old, the 10-year-old I timed is about a 112, which is right about there. A 13-year-old was about a 75, a little bit faster. Dropped down significantly. 75 is maybe about there. 15-year-old is about a 65. 18-year-old is about a 57. A 22-year-old we'll say is 53. 30-year-old, 70, slowing down already. Probably because the 30-year-old's been sitting on the couch, doesn't exercise anymore. Isn't that sad? You get out of high school and so many kids stop exercising. 41-year-old, 91. And a 55-year-old, about 125. All right. So if you were to try and fit some kind of quadratic to it, it might, I'm just going to sketch it, it might look something like that, right? Maybe, I don't know, something like that, maybe. So if we want to find a quadratic equation, model this, we're going to let our calculator do it. So I want you to grab your calculator.
Can you move your paper to, we can see that? Yeah, thank you.
Don't you have that, Carly? Oh, if you guys don't have that, I gave that to you, but I have extras. I've got extras.
It's on the back side of the.
Yeah. Yeah, if you were, it's on the back side of this one, Carly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the back side. And if anybody not have one, I've got one extra.
Yes.
So the back side, so it's on the back side of 1/8. Sorry, you guys. I thought you had this. Yeah, you got it. You guys got it. Back side of 1/8. Yeah, you got it. Okay. Everybody, and if you don't, I've got one extra. Anybody need it? Lauren, here you go. So give me thumbs up when you're ready, okay?
Yes, I have it.
Okay. Carly, did you find it? Oh, good. Okay. And then you guys can do the scatter plot to get caught up. Okay, so first of all, we're going to let the calculator do all the things. So we're going to go, first button we're going to push is stat. Stat's right there, it's stat. So we push stat. Okay, if you get stuck, you have to tell me, okay? Stat. Okay, everybody go to that. Everybody have that screen? Everybody have that screen? Don't worry about the schedule.
Okay.
I didn't think you were listening. Okay. Everybody got stat? Everybody got it? Guys, you guys got it? Good. Okay, now we're going to go to edit. It's on edit. We want to edit because we want to make or create. So we're going to push enter for edit. So enter. Now, I have numbers in my calculator, but I want to get rid of them, okay? Anybody else? Thumbs up Anybody have data already? So if you got data, you want to clear data. You want to clear old data. I'm just going to highlight my list, okay? I used up arrow, highlighted my list, okay? Up arrow, highlight my list. I'm going to push enter, and I'm going to push clear. Then I'll push clear, and I'll use my down arrow, okay? So I go clear, down arrow, clears my list. So to go and clear list 2, I highlight the list name, I'll push clear and down arrow, clear. Okay, how am I doing? Juan, you guys good? Jose?
Yeah, we got it.
Good, okay. Carly? Okay.
Hi, Dara.
Okay, Carly doesn't? Okay, I'll help you. Okay, Vince, you guys got it? Okay, go up, and you highlight your list name, clear, and down arrow. Do it again. You go up, clear, down, cut it. Okay. Now, so now we're going to enter our data. So we'll let age be list 1, and I'll let my time be list 2, okay? Because, so enter data. So in list 1, I'm just going to go 10, enter, 13, enter, 15, enter, 18, enter, 22, enter, 30, enter, 41, enter, 55, enter, okay? And then in list 2, I'll just enter the times. 112, enter, 55, enter, 65, enter, 53, enter, oops, I missed one. Yes, that's 57, isn't it? 57, enter, 53, enter, 70, enter,
Head down to the cursor.
okay. Thank you. 95, enter, and 125, enter, okay? Now, your 2 lists better match up. Does that make sense? If you have 1 extra, then it can't be a point. Right? I mean, that seems obvious, I know. So they've got to match up. Mine do. You'll get an error if they don't. So then the next thing I'm going to do is go back to stat. So push the stat button again. And this time I want to calculate an answer. So then I go to calculate.
You go, just, how do you go back?
Hit quit.
Quit? Okay.
Okay, do you see where quit is?
Yep.
Okay.
You want to move the data?
Okay, am I going too fast? I'll go back. So go back to stat. And then this time I'm going to go over to calculate. And I want to do the quadratic regression line. So I'm going to go to the quad reg. Makes a quadratic regression line. I can push enter. Mine says list 1, which it should. I'm going to go all the way down to calculate. Okay, so then I'm going to go to calculate. Okay, now I have my equation. It tells me the value of A, which I'll put right there, right? Tells me the value of B, which I'll put right there. Tells me the value of C, which I'll put right there. So my equation will be a 0.09 x squared minus a 5.02 x plus 129.88. Okay, that makes sense? Everybody good? Everybody get that?
Yeah, I just got it.
Good. Everybody get that?
Everybody R squared.
Oh.
How do you get R squared? Oh, jeez.
Oh, I'll talk about R squared in a second. Yeah. Did you not get R squared?
I didn't get R.
Okay. You won't need it, but it just tells you how good your line is. Yeah, it's not a great line. So here's so I have A was a 0.09. My B was a negative 5.02. Well, just negative 5 is good enough. C was about 129.9. So my equation is going to be y equals a 0.09x squared minus a 5x plus 129.9, right? or I could use time with respect to age. Same equation, I just like to write letters that mean something. Okay, I just changed my variables, that's all. Instead of y and x, I like time with respect to age. Okay, now, the correlation coefficient, if you don't have that, I'm going to tell you how to get it. So it's an r squared. My r squared is about 0.729. Now, if you don't have a, raise your hand if you didn't have an r squared. Anybody not? Okay, so here's what you do. Okay, I'm going to show you get your r squared. I'm going to go into catalog, which is in blue, way down here. So I'm going to go get into catalog. And I'm looking for diagnosis. I'm looking for this button called diagnosis because I'm doing a diagnostics of my data. So I go all the way down to diagnosis, which should be alphabetical order. Diagnosis.
I have diagnosis on and off.
Yes, we want to turn it on. You're ahead of me. That's awesome. So diagnosis on, we want to turn it on, right? So go all the way down to diagnostics, on, and then do your whole thing again and you'll get the R. So you go back to stat, calculate, quadratic regression, and you'll get your R. There it is. Did you get your R, R squared? Now an R squared of 0.72 is not real good. But if I look at my points, they're not real good either, are they? They don't shape a parabola real well. An r squared of 1 is perfect. That shows that all of my lines, all my points would have lined up, okay? Now, I didn't get a chance to get everybody on the track. I just got a bunch of volunteers. But if I could have gotten everybody in every age, I might have been able to figure out who was the fastest, right? So, what would be the fastest? Well, this is a parabola. The fastest time would be the vertex, right? Wouldn't it? So let's find the vertex, which is my, actually age. Age equals negative b over 2a, right? So if I want to find the best age, turn the 400, negative b, so I'm going to use my negative 5 over 2 times my 0.09. And let's see what I get. Clear. 5 divided by 2 times 0.09. About 27.7 or 27.8. So it means somebody almost 30 years old. It's about 28 years old. So some guy about 28 years old, and that's pretty close to being true. So where you're at your fastest as far as a sprinter. That's what you see in the Olympics quite often. And that's years old, so that's the age. And then what would that time be? Let's plug it in. So what's that time? How fast would a 28-year-old run? Let's plug it into our equation, right? So I'll go my t of 27.8 is equal to my 0.09 times my 27.8 squared minus my 5 times my 27.8 plus 129.9, and I'm just going to let my calculator do the work, right? You want to see a cool button? It's called the answer button. So 0.09 parentheses answer. I love that button. Answer. What's the answer mean? It's the very last answer you had. The answer button's down by the negative in blue, okay? Squared. It means I just don't have to type it again. That's what I like about this button. Minus 5 times my answer plus 129.9. Okay, about 60.4. 60.4 seconds would be how fast a 28-year-old would run, okay? How's that?
A little bit.
And Kai can even run faster than that. He wouldn't want to, but he could.